Hello, everyone. Noreen here. A few days late, but I am going to give a recap of the Singapore Roundtable from beautiful Phuket, where I am right now. Got here a couple of days ago, and just been enjoying some R&R after what was quite an intense 3 weeks in Singapore. Primarily to reconnect with old friends and meet new ones, and just network a lot in Singapore, which I haven't really had the opportunity to do before, like I did on this trip. But in the end, it culminated in having my third Inspire Roundtable for inspiring women in hospitality. So we got a group of 9 women together in the end, with very different backgrounds, everything from operations to development to investment, to like in different spaces within hospitality as well. So that was really great to have that group, that mix, and obviously different cultures and backgrounds as well, which Singapore, very much like London, is a melting pot for so many different cultures. So it was great to hear all that diversity. And it was actually the first time these group of women got together for an event focused on women in hospitality, which I'm so proud that I was able to put this together for them. It took us 30 minutes to get through introductions. A few of us knew each other already from before. Others were new to us. So it was great to kind of have that time to learn a little bit more about each other. And as we sort of kicked off the discussions, to be fair, I did kind of open with quite a difficult question, which was talking about why do we not have enough female leaders in hospitality? So different points of view. It's still, operations, especially in particular, is very patriarchal. So very few female GMs, and those female GMs that they have to work twice as hard to prove themselves, and in doing so, sometimes they end up having to lose their feminine traits. And also, it has to do with who the owners are, what kind of male counterparts you're working with on a day-to-day basis, which was interesting. This concept of having to work twice as hard to prove yourself was also something that was discussed during our London roundtable as well. So it seems to be some similarities that I'm picking up. And now, of course, yes, Singapore is quite small, but you end up interacting. Most of the ladies at the table, they cover a wide region within Asia Pacific. So then they have to interact with so many different countries and cultures within Asia. India is completely different to, say, Japan, to Thailand, to in Australia. So understanding all the nuances there is also important. Oftentimes they find themselves being the only woman at the table, or when they're with a group of men, they don't get talked at all. People talk to their male colleagues instead. So oftentimes it's quite a struggle to remind ourselves that we deserve to be here. We have that seat at the table and we are enough. So, but it's a constant work that we have to do internally to remind ourselves of our value. Empathy was something that we were talked about. It's our superpower. This was something that was commonly agreed to around the table, is that we need to start wearing it like our cape, of our superpowers, and not to have to worry about disguising it. And learning to be ourselves. Oftentimes we have, say, a male boss or manager that we're being guided by or mentored, or we're looking up to. But I think what we realized was that we cannot be like them, male or female, to be fair. It's about learning from them, of course, but then learning what your own style is like, especially when it comes to things like presentations or talking, and to not lose ourselves in there. It's also important to have different mentors along the way. Something that we would discuss was oftentimes our male counterparts, even partners or friends that we talk to, they have 2 or 3 mentors, and they just reach out to the top boss in that company that they're looking at, or whoever they find as someone that they're inspired by, and they just go ahead and reach out to them and say, hey, can you be our mentor? At that table and in Singapore, no one has a mentor. And no one has ever reached out to anybody either. Now, part of the reason is perhaps they were looking for female mentors, and there are very few female leaders in the industry. So my challenge to the group was, let's try and be each other's mentors. So more of a peer-to-peer type of mentoring. Definitely more networking is needed, and to encourage women to come together and help each other, support each other, bring that supportive culture into the women's network, I think is important as well. There was some talk about abuse and safety and personal safety and how we navigate that space. I won't go into too much details about that, but it is definitely something that is a topic and something that we are very much aware of, and how to handle each of those situations. So more to come on that hopefully in the future. And I think we need to remind ourselves that let's not sacrifice too much to be ourselves, and remind ourselves that we can be, we can bring our feminine traits to the table. And at the end of the day, that we're amazing. I think this was the theme of the entire conversation, is that we are amazing, and just those constant reminders. And I think sometimes we need this group environment to be in, to remind ourselves of it, because it sounds so much nicer when you hear it from somebody else, and then you can make that a bit of a mantra for yourself. I so personally, I'm so happy that I was able to pull this off and bring this group of women together. I left being thoroughly inspired by each and every single one of them. We are incredible. And I am so proud of everything that each of the women at the table have achieved, and I know they will go on to achieve much more. So excited to see where I can continue to take this, and where else I can host some Inspire Roundtables and build this global network of women within hospitality.